Hey guys, welcome to Dolly and Associates. Today we are hanging out with one of the most interesting photographers I have ever met. Wondering why we're hanging out at Key City Theatre? We have a fun activity planned inside. Roll the intro. Joining us is world-renowned artist, photographer, and storyteller, Joel Robison. Joel, thanks for joining today. There is no way for me to express how profoundly happy I am to share this stage with you. For those watching who haven't necessarily seen your art and know who you are, how's the best way to explain what kind of creator you are and what kind of art you find yourself quite literally in?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and it's a question I get asked a lot. I like to combine all of those elements together. So storyteller, photographer, artist, they all blend together in the work that I do. So I would consider my work to be illustrative, to be conceptual, to be whimsical. So it's an imaginative way of seeing the world. So I like to take well-known objects or places. I like to blend reality with surreality. So to take things that we might see all the time and then change them to look a little bit more creative or a little bit more interesting, or make people think about seeing those things in a brand new, more whimsical way.
So these pieces are imaginative, as you said, whimsical, wondrous, wise, I would say. They are inspiring to many. So let me ask you, what inspires the inspired? What inspires you?
Yeah, I seek inspiration kind of all around me. I've always been someone that takes what's going on in my mind, what's going around in the world, and I try to interpret it in a visual way. So I find that helps me process my own emotions, my own thoughts, how I'm feeling, to express that in a visual way. So a lot of my images are inspired by me just sitting and thinking and taking what's going on in my world, in the world in general, and finding a way to visualize that, to express that in an image so that someone else might see it and relate to that. And then some of it just comes from daydreaming. I like to tell people I'm a professional daydreamer. So I give myself time to just daydream, which I don't think we get to do very often as grown-ups especially. So I do just sit and just let my brain melt and wander and think and touch on things. And sometimes that is where I end up getting in touch with myself. And it's a form of meditation maybe to sit and do that, and eventually kind of start realizing that you're feeling a certain way, or that you're thinking about something over and over again, or that there's something going on that you can't quite shake. And those are sort of like the gold mines where you take the inspiration from those moments, because they are obviously playing a part in what you're thinking.
And you really have created this wondrous realm of imagination and helped so many through their different processes in life, and using your own challenges and successes to really kind of enlighten your audience. Some beautiful work. Is there a creative piece that has been profound? I'm sure many, but is there a specific one that we can call attention to?
Yeah, it's tough. I get asked that question a lot. Like, what's your favorite one? Or like, is there one that stands out? And I've been doing this for about 14 or 15 years. And I've created probably thousands of photos by now. And so it's really hard for me to pick those ones that are standouts. But there's one in general that I think about all the time. And that was taken in 2014. And it was during a time when I was in a major transition in my life. I was about to set off on a world-changing, life-changing tour that I was going to do for a year. So I was going to travel around the world. I was going to leave everything I knew behind. I had quit my job. I was changing my entire life. And I was in this like really strange, everything is up in the air turmoil feeling. And I went out and I was like, I need to create an image before I leave, because everything is going to change. So it was like, from this point on, everything's going to be different. And I went and took a photo out in the community forest where I like to create a lot of my work when I'm here. And it was just a beautiful fall evening, and the idea of it was sort of me just with my arms upstretched in the grass with these floating teapots being kind of held up with balloons, and just me like holding a teacup and it being filled up by this floating teapot. And the idea behind it was just like, no matter where you are, no matter how things feel, if it all feels like it's up in the air and it's all floating around you, if you just sit and you relax and you like just let yourself breathe, that that comfort will come to you, that comfort will find you, that relaxation will find you, and you'll find yourself. And the whole process of creating it just felt so, I just felt so me, and I felt so just at peace. And it was, I always say that it felt like a dance, like setting up my tripod and the camera and shooting all the elements, and it all just came together. And I can remember, the way that the grass was moving, and I can remember hearing a bird, like a crow, flying overhead, and I can just remember all the feelings and all the sensory experiences of creating that.
An excellent example of your art imitating your life.
Yeah, definitely.
And so beautifully through the lens of a camera, but also through the lens of, as you said, your expression and your successes in your struggle. At some point, it must have reversed, and your life started to be created by your art, because that motion was created in your experiences. So tell us about the pivotal point where you went from a Kootenay kid with a camera to an international influencer.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't think that anything has changed. It's when other people say it that I realize that, things are a bit different than they were a few years ago. I think that a few things really happened, and one of them was I was shooting photos, working every day, taking the images that I was creating, just doing it because I loved it. I was working a full-time job. I wasn't doing anything, necessarily because I wanted to do it as a profession. I wasn't creating for a job. And then I got approached by Coke to work with them on a project. And
like just a little company, just a tiny little company.
Yeah, people may have heard of it. And, I was kind of blown away. I was like, I'm a nobody. Like, why?
So was there a happy dance in that moment? Because I feel like even young Joel had a happy dance.
I mean, definitely. There was just like this kind of strange, like, okay. And it was at that point that things really started to shift, and they were great to work with because they gave me my creative freedom to do what I really wanted to do. So there were guidelines, but there was no expectation to produce work in a specific way. I was allowed to be myself. And to have a project with a client like that where you're allowed to kind of do what you want to do is a huge thing. And so at the end of that project, I really realized that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I've been really lucky to work with clients, from around the world that allow me to do that. And every time I get to work with someone that I've always wanted to work with, or that I recognize, or that, they've come to me to want to work with, I just feel like, okay, I'm still doing something right. Something is still working, and I'm going to keep going.
So with your art, we often see you in the forefront in these beautiful, really vibrant images. But today, we've worked out a bit of a different scheme. We're going to flip that upside down and put you behind the scenes. Because when people first come into your art, they see that imagery, but they don't see the process. And that is equally as beautiful and as interesting. So lucky for Dolly, we get to change places, and we're going to create something really fun and show how you make magic come together.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, so I see that you brought some objects with you. Can you explain what I'm supposed to do with them?
Okay, so when we started the conversation, I knew that you based your imaginative imagery on often an internal setting and kind of things that you might be moving through in life or that you're helping others move through in life. And so that, when looking at myself, brought to mind something that I see in my adult years as a vulnerability.
Okay.
And so that comes into feeling unrooted.
Oh.
And by that I mean, like, as we grow, sometimes we transition out of our original family when we move away from home, or maybe we've separated later in life. And so there's all of these transitional pieces that have us kind of feeling maybe like we're in shallow soil.
Okay.
And so I brought the pot because I know that you can take a piece and make it into like an instrument of art. And then the dress is really just a strong representation of myself. It's a part of my personal attire, and I thought it was very whimsical and a piece of beauty that you could take and create with how you saw it.
I like that. I think we can work with this. This is good. Well, I'll try two different ideas with you. The first is like the pot upright, and then you kind of sitting on the edge of the pot, and like something kind of growing out from behind you. And then the second one is the pot upturned or like on its side, and then you'd be like sitting on that part, and then like there could be dirt coming out with like a sprout or something growing beneath you. So like that uprooted, it's like poured out, but there is something growing that's coming. I'm just gonna do one more try. That's definitely doable, I think that, and the white will stand out against the dark. I'll do a few like test shots and just like standard shots, but then I want you to envision like that feeling of being uprooted or like you're grasping at something. So I'll try a few different poses with your hands, like reaching for something or like holding something or something kind of coming up. I'll have you look, starting kind of that, just kind of to your side, and then gradually I'm just gonna have you face just your head slowly towards me, and then I'll do the same thing but just looking more upwards, and then just move your head back. Awesome. Yep. And keep your eye fixated on the pointer of your finger.
Like the amount of caffeine today is affecting this pose.
It should be okay. I'm on high shutter speeds. That's perfect. I think that's it. I think we got it.
Exciting!
We did it.
That was absolutely amazing. I am so excited to see how it grows and how interesting of a process is that. You are very talented.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. You, as an artist, don't only build yourself through your art, your skill, and your experience, but you take a lot of time to build others. You govern workshops, and you help to mentor other artists towards finding their own independent inspiration.
Yeah, I think that, you know, growing up in a smaller place, the sense of community is really important. And I really benefited from community in many different ways in my life. And certainly the photography community helped me so much. When I first started, there was no social media. This was like old school. This was pre-Instagram. This was like pre-Facebook. And really Flickr was like the social media for photography. And I met some amazing people. And it was just a group of people that really were all doing the same thing, shooting images, taking photos because we love to do it. And it was just a really tight-knit community. And I saw the value in creating together and helping each other, not to get ahead and not to be better than anyone, but just because you enjoyed the same thing. And I was really lucky to be a part of that community. And I've always really loved supporting other people and working with other people. And education is definitely something that I value. And it just became a natural fit once I got to the point where I felt like I could share something with other people. I jumped at every chance that I could. And so I've taught workshops all around the world. I've taught online, I've taught at conferences, and I help as much as I can. If anyone ever has a question, I'm always happy to help answer it, because I think, you know, that's what we should be doing. We should be sharing knowledge, we should be helping each other. And me teaching someone how to use their camera or how to use Photoshop, it doesn't take anything away from me. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna have less available for myself. It gives someone else maybe the chance to do something that they've always wanted to do, or unlock something that they've always wanted to try. And you never know where that could take that person. So anytime I get a chance to help other people, I take it.
So let's talk about other places that you have placed your talent. Can you give us a little bit of understanding as to some of the exhibitions that you've taken part in the past?
Yeah, I've been really lucky to have kind of exhibitions shown all over the place, so all over the world. But two that really stand out to me that were more community focused were both here in Cranbrook and one in Vancouver. I had an exhibition with a charity that I work for, a men's mental health charity called Heads Up Guys. And it was a show called Mindful. So it was images that were visualizations of my own experience with my own mental health and how I use art to process it and understand it. And I was asked to present a show in Vancouver on Granville Island by a gallery owner, and I knew right away that I wanted to do it as a fundraiser. I think that anytime you can use your skills for good, you should take it. And so I worked together with the Karen Cooper Gallery in Vancouver and Heads Up Guys to create this amazing weekend of art. And I'm happy to say that we sold everything out. We sold the whole show out, and we raised thousands of dollars for men's mental health. And so that's really going to benefit men's mental health and people all around the country, all around the world. Our work is global. So that was a big deal. And another one that I was really excited to work on was here at the Key City Theatre. It's a Faces of Pride exhibit. So it was an opportunity to showcase people that are part of the LGBTQ plus community in Cranbrook, just to give people a voice. I'm part of that community, and sometimes it does feel like we don't have a chance to express ourselves or have a space to tell our stories. And I think that we're still in a place where we benefit so much from learning about different people. And I've always felt that a community grows and a community is stronger when we listen to the stories of all the people that make up that community. And that's certainly the case, I feel, with Faces of Pride. It was a chance for me to step behind the camera again and photograph amazing people with amazing stories and see the table grow with more chairs and more seats at the table to share and grow and learn together, and to be able to see all these people from different backgrounds be a part of a collective exhibit together. It was really amazing and an honor to be a part of.
And the enrichment for yourself and for the one by one, and as that group grew.
Yeah.
Next person to next. I can't even imagine
it was
how impactful that specific show, but the one before that, the one in Vancouver, there's so much that you accomplish by using your creativity and sharing it with the world.
It's a real honor to be able to be someone that can use a skill or talent to benefit other people. And I think in both of those cases, it was putting myself out there a little bit and a little bit uncomfortable maybe, because you have to put yourself out there to get those things done. But the rewards outweigh any anxiety or any stress or any nerves. It just makes it all worth it. And to be able to photograph people, it's an honor to be able to hear someone's story and to take their picture and to be there for them in their moment of courage as well. So it was great. Both experiences were great.
Joel, you have walked an incredible path, and your journey really is just beginning. So tell us, what is next?
I don't ever really slow down. I always think that, maybe next month it'll be a bit quieter, maybe next year it'll be a bit quieter, but I've been doing this full time for over a decade, and it's been just amazing to be able to do what I get to do. And the joy of creating is that it's never the same project twice. So I never know what's coming around the corner, but I have some pretty amazing projects coming, and I'm always looking at ways to work with other artists. I've worked with Jan Arden in the last year and working with her on different projects. I have some clients that I work with in the UK, some poets, some authors that I'm creating illustrations and book covers for their next project. So all of those projects continue to fuel me towards the next, and I can't wait to see what's coming around the corner. I know it's going to be something cool.
Well, I have to thank you for joining on the stage today, for sharing this stage, but really just for sharing yourself. Coming into this specific interview, I found myself kind of a little above excited than normal. And it was not all to do with the beauty that you create, but it was really easy to see the beauty that you are. And that was really nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining. And guys, don't forget, check out Dolly & Associates on YouTube, Facebook, and as always, Shell Spotlight.